This conference will now be recorded. This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, Vananda. In the previous presentations, we have seen about the microprocessors and the microcontrollers. In the unit 1, it was microprocessors, and unit 2, microcontrollers. And I have explained about microcontrollers, architecture, and pin diagram, and different ports in pin diagram we have seen. And today, I would like to explain one more important topic of unit 2. That is memory organization, right? So this memory organization, not memory organization also covered register set of 8051. Actually, that topic is not mentioned in the 8051 syllabus, but it's a part of memory organization that we will see in this coming slides. Right. So memory and registers. This is the today's topic. So we know that according to the first unit, 8086 also having 20 address lines and 16 data lines. Why we need this address lines and data lines? Data lines are used to carry the data from one location to another location, whereas address lines means to point to this specific place. Place means a memory. Right. So the number of address lines here gives the number of the capacity of the memory. Right. So 8086 is having 1 MB of memory because 20 address lines are there. So 2 power 20 is equal to 1 MB. Whereas in the case of 8051, we are having 16 address lines. So 2 power 16 is equal to 64 KB. That I'll show you the practical calculations also. Microprocessor, we have the total memory outside of the chip. But whereas in the case of microcontroller, if you see the block diagram also, microcontroller will have the total memory on the chip itself. This is the main difference between microprocessors and microcontrollers. Anyone will say that what is the basic difference between microprocessors and microcontrollers means microcontroller will have the on-chip memory, whereas microprocessor will have the off-chip memory. This is a little bit about memory. Then what is register? So that we will see here. Right, what is a register? We know that in the first unit also was explained. Registers are the smallest data holding elements that are built into the processor itself. Right. So these are the memory locations. These are also memory. Right. Registers also memory locations. But these are all used to store only small amount. Small amount means only either 1 bit of data or 8 bit of data or 4 bit of data or 16 bit of data only. Only small. Suppose if you take ARM processor is also having different registers inside of the processor. So it is 32 bit. So 32 bit registers are there. So maximum today we are having the register capacity is to store up to 64 or 128 bits only. But whereas in the case of 8086 or processor level, right, these processor will have the total memory outside and it uses to store the more amount of data. Whereas in the case of this registers inside of the processor, these registers are used to hold small amount of data. Right, so it may hold an instruction. An instruction may be a 1 byte or 2 byte. So that's why it is used to hold instructions. A storage address, address locations value, or any kind of data such as a bit sequence. See, here it is given bit sequence only in terms of bits, 4 bits, 8 bits, 16 bits, like that. So only to store the data, we are using registers. For example, accumulator is a register, program counter is a register, instruction register is a register, address register is register. So see, these are all called as the registers to hold the some particular operations by using these registers. But what is a memory here? It's a temporary storage. Mainly the registers are used to store the temporary storage. And here you can see that this is the processor inside. It has arithmetic unit and it has control unit and it has some of the register set. Okay, so this is what we call the register, and memory is to store the permanent data outside of the processor. But what is memory? You know that memory is a hardware device used to store computer programs, instructions, and data. The memory that is internal to the processor is a primary memory. So here memory is two types, RAM memory and ROM memory. But in the case of microprocessor, here the memory is two types, main memory and secondary memory. So the main memory means RAM memory and ROM memory, and whereas secondary memory means hard disk memory, floppy disk memory, external hard disk memory, or and all CD-ROM memory. These are all called as the secondary memories. Whereas in the case of primary memory, the RAM memory is a primary memory and ROM memory is a primary memory. RAM is a temporary storage to hold the data, whereas this ROM memory is a permanent storage, is used to store BIOS instructions or DOS and BIOS instructions in the computer. Whereas in the case of mobile phone, this ROM itself is used as a secondary memory, and it is used to DOS and BIOS instructions, and it is used to store the operating systems, and it is used to store the user data in the case of mobile phone and tablet PCs. But in the case of desktop PCs or computers, right, this second ROM memory is used to store only DOS and BIOS instructions. So this is the difference between the memory and registers. But here you can see that this is also one of the diagram. Right, here we have two types of memory, internal storage memory and SD card memory. So this is related to your ROM memory, ROM memory in your mobile phone. Right, so here this internal storage means always you remember permanent storage, not temporary storage. So this may be internal ROM, or it may be external ROM, right? That is called SD card. Understood? So this is the one of the examples of our ROM memory, permanent memory, to store the user data, to store the DOS and BIOS, or to store the operating systems of Android operating systems, or and so on. Right. So here how to calculate those values? Here I have given a simple 2 power values. 2 power 0 equal to 1, 2 power 1 equal to 2 power 2 equal to 4, 2 power 3 equal to 8, 2 power 4 equal to 16, 2 power 5 is 32, 2 power 10 is 1024 bits or 1 kilobits. 2 power 10 bytes equal to 1024 bytes, which is called as 1 KB. Right, and 2 power 20 bytes equal to 1024 KB is equal to 1 megabytes, means 1 kilobytes equal to 1 megabyte. Even our CD-ROMs also in terms of megabytes, right? CD-ROM is having 700 megabytes, means 700 into 1024 KB, or 1 KB is equal to 102 bits. So that many number of bits we can store the data. Right? So here you can see that what is a byte, what is kilobyte, what is megabyte, what is gigabyte, what is terabyte, petabyte, exabyte, zettabyte, and yottabyte. So these are the different formats they are storing in the industry right now. So this is the architecture of 8051. Why we have talked about memory and registers here is, right, so if you see the next block diagram here, so this is the architecture and this is the block diagram. So both are same almost. So here everything is up inside of the chip. So this is the actual 8051 chip. So this is ROM, RAM, right, IO ports, serial ports, timers, interrupt controller, and oscillator or clock generator, all are inside of the chip. So how can you operate all are inside of chip? Whereas in the case of 8086, right, I'll show you here. I have the diagram also. Whereas in the case of 8086, see here, 8086 block diagram means memory is outside, right? Only we have some of the registers and ALU set inside of the ALU and control unit is inside of this, and with along with some registers. But memory is outside, raw memory or RAM memory is outside. But whereas in the case of 8051 here all are inside of the chip. So how can you operate this? Means, so some of these registers and some of these blocks are, they have designed in terms of registers. So we can program these devices inside of the programs stored in this raw memory, right? So this is the permanent memory and this is the temporary memory. So this temporary memory is used to define the two types of memory registers here, that is general purpose registers and special purpose registers, that we will see later. Right. So when the differences between microprocessor and microcontroller are mentioned, the difference can be stated as on-chip memory. Right. That is RAM and ROM. So microcontroller has both program memory ROM and the data memory RAM on the same chip, whereas a microprocessor has to be externally interfaced with the memory modules. So the amount of memory is depending upon the number of address lines that we have seen already. Right. So here this RAM and ROM completely is depending upon the number of address lines. So 2 power 16 equal to 64 KB because 16 address lines are there. But we don't require 64 KB of RAM and 64 KB of ROM. Maybe 64 KB of ROM is required, but 64 KB of RAM is not required. Why? Because I'll show you why. Because, right, so that's why here we have two types of memory, on-chip memory and off-chip memory. Right, so on-chip memory means inside of the chip itself. Off-chip memory means outside of the chip, it's microprocessor control chip itself. So here the 16 address line, so I can extend up to 64 KB, and whereas it has on-chip 4 KB. Why 4 KB? Because the main purpose of ROM using 8051 is 8051 microcontroller is a specific function microcontroller. It is used for only single or specific application execution. So that's why here this ROM is used to store the only programming part or instructions or code. So that's why here it is also called as program memory. Right, 4 KB is enough. How 4 KB is equal to 0 FFH? That I'll explain next slide. Right, in the case of RAM, right, it has two types of on chip, right, 128 bytes of 00 to 7FH, and this memory is designed as registers, and additional 128 of memory is for SFR, means special function registers, that I'll show you. Right, and RAM memory and RAM also can be extended up to 64 KB, but it's not required always. Right. So see here, as a engineer and as a mathematician and as a electronics and communication engineer, we should understand this, right? Because we are all every day we are coming across this KB, GB, MB and all. So how to calculate based upon number of bits this KB and GB and MB, you see here. So how 4 KB is equal to 0 FFH. You see here 0 FFH is equal to 1 H is equal to 4 bits. So 0, 4 zeros, F 4 ones, because 4 F is equal to 15. 15 means F. So 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. So if you write like this, right? So binary. So it is a binary format. So count number of ones. So how many number of ones are there? So 4 4 4 means 12 ones are there. So in this 12 ones here, right? It if you write 2 power 12, 2 power 12 means 2 power 2 into 2 power 10 is equal to 4, 2 power 2 is 4 and 2 power 10 is 1 KB is equal to 4 KB, right? So 4 KB, so like that it is equal to 4 KB. So the main purpose of ROM is used to store operating systems, which is also called as firmware. So this word firmware we can see in our mobile phones also. So and it is also used to store user data like images, video files, audio files, and some of the apps on the mobile phone. Okay, so that is the main purpose of ROM. Right, how RAM and RAM can be interfaced with 8051, this is the diagram. So this we will see in the third unit. Right, so through this port 0 and port 2, because port 0 and port 2 is having address and data lines, so that can be called through these latches, so that we will see in the next coming third unit slides. Right, so suppose when you go to shop, right, we are asking for the mobile phone or laptop something, and then what the shopkeeper, the seller says that, so this device can support up to, what is the meaning of supporting up to 64 KB, 128 GB, 1 terabyte, like that? means it is raw memory, right? That is called external or extendable or off-chip memory, right? 64 KB, 128 GB, and 1 terabyte, like that. So why it is not having? Because when you increase the memory, the cost of the device will be increased. So what these service providers are doing, or company people are doing, so everything should be at the minimum cost, so with minimum features. They could not give the 100% what are available with that features of the device. So that's why here they are giving the word support up to or extendable, right? So this is the program memory that we have seen already. So this is the diagram of how to access external program memory. Here this is called as the 8051 chip, and it has some 4 KB of internal 4 KB of ROM, and it is the up to 64 KB. 64 KB means, right, 2 power 60 means 16 ones. 16 ones means 4 ones is equivalent of 1 F. So I have taken, that's why 4 Fs, right? So this is 1300. Why it is 1300? So after 0 FFFH, 0 will be set, and remaining all are set to 000. That we know that. After F means 15, 16 will be written as 10H. So like that. So 0FFH, after this it is written as 01300H to FFH. So means after 4 KB2, right? The next value is FFFFH. So how to call this one? So if you want to call this internal memory, for this external access pin must include high, right? When the pin is high, and then CPU fetch instructions from the internal program memory. Why internal program? When it is 1 bar is 0. So right, 0 means it accesses only internal memory. Now you see here, right? So when E bar is connected to 0, 0 means ground. Ground means logic 0. Logic 0 means E bar. E bar means 1, means external access is active now. So when external access is 1, completely it will be set to 000H to FFFFH. Means instructions are fetching. The complete program memory available to the user is complete 64 KB, and it accesses the data from the external memory. And this explanation I will explain in the next coming third unit. So that I'll explain. Now this is the RAM memory, and this RAM in 8051 we have 128 GB of here you can see that 8051 is having 128 byte of RAM, and one more 128 byte of RAM is used for SFR. So that's why here you can see that original 8051 is having 128 bytes of RAM, but the next coming version of 8051 is called as 80C51. So this 80C51 microcontroller have 256 bytes of RAM. So first 128 for some basic registers, and next 128 for SFRs, that we will see later. Right. See here, so the 80, this is the 8086 unit 1, 8086 register organization. So here we have AX, BX, CX, and DX. These are the 4 registers which are called as general purpose registers. Right, SP, BP all called point registers. SID are called index registers. IP is called as instruction pointer. CS, DS, SS, CS are called as segment registers, and we have flag registers. And out of these 3 are called as the right special purpose registers, and AX, BX, CX are called as general purpose registers. In the same way, in 8051 also we are having different registers, right? So these are the registers in 8051 are part of RAM locations, right? So 8051 is also having general purpose registers and special function registers. So general purpose registers are here R0 to R31 called as general purpose registers, means here we have 32 registers. 32 general purpose registers are there, and all the 32 registers internally will be operated at the program level only in the form of R0 to R7, but not R0 to R31. Then R0 to R31, how they can call? So this R0 to R31 will be categorized into 888 registers and will be functioning by using program status word. There is a register called program status word, right? It is an 8-bit register. Out of 8 bits of PSW, 2 bits for segregation or 2 bits for calling these R0 to R31, which are defined into 8 registers. And you remember each register width is again internally 8 bit. In the case of 8086 also, here you can see that in the case of 8086 also, AX is in the form of AL and AH. Here X stands for 16 bit. X stands for 16 bit. Whereas in the case of here AL and AH is in terms of 8 bits. Right? AL stands for lower byte. AH stands for higher byte. Byte means 8 bits. So even though the general purpose registers are in terms of 16-bit, but internally available 8 bits. Why? Because usually the 8086 microprocessor or 805 microcontroller will be performing in terms of ASCII formatted number system 0 to 9, which are in ASCII format. That's why here we need 8-bit registers. Understood? So 8051 is also having 32 registers, and these 32 registers are internally segregated into 8. So 8 registers that we will see next. But these 32 registers will not be called as R0 to R31. They will be called as R0 to R31. So first 8 R0 to R7, next 8 also R0 to R7, next 8 also R0 to R7. That I'll show you how. And that will be called by using this register is called program state. That's why it is called a special function. What is the function of PSW? To operate this R0 to R31, right? That's why it's called as special function registers. And stack pointer is used to call the stack of the memory. So that's why here we are having the stack pointer. It's a part of this RAM memory only. Right, so the next we will see about this memory one by one. A register, B register, PSW, DPTR, program counter. These are all called as special function registers that we will see one by one. Right. So what is random access memory? Basically used for processing, not for mainly storage. Right. Volatile in nature means when power is off, then data will be completely removed from this memory, and also known as read and write memory. It is used to read the data or it is write data between processor to hard disk. So that's why it is called as random access memory. It holds instructions only temporarily basis. Right, small in size compared to storage. We know that even in our mobile phones also we are having 4 GB RAM and 128 GB or 64 GB of ROM. That's why compared to ROM ROM, so its capacity is small size. Most used as main memory because processor to or hard disk to ROM, RAM and RAM to processor. That's why it's called as main memory. And this memory available as chips, right? So one chip can execute 8 bits. So if it is 16-bit, we need 2 RAMs, and if it is 32-bit, we need 4 RAMs. Like that, even in our lab, motherboard also having three slots, 2 slots, or 4 slots in our microprocessor motherboard. So you can see there. So the types of registers in RAM are 2 types. General purpose, that is called byte addressable. I just now I told you R0 to R7 or R0 to R31 are in terms of bytes only. Each register can store byte of data, means 8 bits, and some are special functions. Now, so this 128 bytes of memory here is categorized into 3 parts. There is register banks, bit addressable area, and scratchpad area. That is, you can see here. Right, see, so this is the first 128. How this 0027F is equal to 128, that I have explained here. So 000B is equal to 0H, 8 zeros is equal to 00H, 011 you take 2 power values, 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 power 2, right? So into 1 plus 2 power 1 into 1 plus 2 power 0 into 1. If you add all the 2 power values because of this binary, it is equal to 7. So 0001 111 is equal to 1F, that is equal to 31. You see here, right? So 0002 1F, right here we are having R0 to R31. Understood now? So that is next 0111 to 111. which is equal to 7f, which is equal to 127. If you have any doubt, you convert into 2 power values and you can calculate how much it is 7f equal to 128 or not. 002 127 means 128 values. Right. So how these four banks, bank 000 to 07, bank 1 08 to 0f, bank 2 102 17, bank 3 182 1f. See here, difference is 888, but internally they are written as R02 R7, R02 R7, R02 R7, R02 R7. See, they are not written after R7, they have not written it is R8. And after this R15, they have not written here as R16, but they have written internally as R02 R7, R02 R7, R02 R7, like that only they have written. And remaining 16 is 20 to 2F. Here 2 is common, but here it is 0 to F means 16 values because it is equal to 15. So 0 to F means 16 values. Here bit addressable. So this is also one of the main feature of 8051. Right, it has 16 bit addressable registers, right, that is 0 to F. So here I can write 20.0, 20.1, 20.2, 20.2, like that. Here each register, right, here 16 registers which are available are, because 20 to 2F difference is 16, so here 16 are in terms of bit addressable. I can write the program bit addressable by using bit addressable locations. Sometimes we need bit storage. Suppose you're adding two values, carry generated. You are subtracting, borrow is generated. You are dividing, any remainder is generated. They're all bit operations. So when you are performing these bit oriented operations, then those bit values can be stored by using these bit addressable registers. And here 30 to 7F, remaining are 80. So these are general purpose registers, means 30 to 7F. In the programming we can see that here you can write move a comma 30H, means whatever the content you are storing in the 30H memory location can be stored into a register or can be moved into a register. So here, that's why here we can take this as the general purpose registers locations. So which is equal to 80 plus 16 plus 32 is equal to 128. So this is what we call the right total 128 bytes of memory of RAM. Right. So this can be used for direct and indirect addressing. Direct addressing means 30H. Right. Indirect addressing, here you can see that R0 is called as direct, 00 is called as indirect. Sorry, 00 is direct and R0 is indirect. Now how to call this one? Here you can see that RS0 and RS1 register bank selector bits. Right, here 0 and 1 means 2 bits here. So 2 bits means 4 combinations. So RS0 and RS1, if both are 0, bank 0. If both are 0 1, bank 1 selected. If 1 0, bank 2 will be selected. If 1 1, bank 3 will be selected. What is bank 1? See, this is bank 0. Bank 0 means R0 to R7. So this is bank 1. Here 8 to 15. Here it is bank 2, 10 to 17. Here bank 3 means 18 to 1F. Internally there R0 to R7. Because they are having the same name, so then we can program by using these bits, right? So now based on the remaining bits, if these two bits are 0 0, then these 8 bits value will be 1. If these two bits are 0 1, then these bits operation is different. 1 0, these bits operation is different. 1 1, these bits operation is different. So if it is 0 0 0, bank 0 0 1 1, bank 1 1 0 2, bank 2 1 1 3 means bank 3. Like that I can call any bank here. Next to 128. So first 128 we have seen. Next to 128. So after 7F, the next value F will be set to 0, and 7 again. After 7 we have 8. So after 7F we will have the 80. 80 to, if it is increasing goes on, right? 1 0 0 1 triple 0 to 0 0 0. If I write all ones, it is equal to F F H. So it is difference between 80 to FFH is used to store these registers. You see here B, base register, accumulator, program status word, instruction pointer, right? And the program, port 3, interrupt priority, interrupt enable, port 2, S buffer, S con, port 1, right? Like that, these are the different registers for different operations they have stored, and they are operating by using the status of these bits at SFR of RAM memory, because we know that RAM memory is a temporary storage. Suppose you are operating your accumulator. This accumulator will be operated through the register value called as E0H in your RAM. Only the accumulator always operated through this E0H. Suppose you are operating your timer 1. The timer 1 can be operated through TH0 and TL0. Memory locations are 8CL, 88. So these are the different registers locations stored in the mentioned in the RAM memory. So this can be addressed either directly or indirectly. You can write move a comma p0, or you can write move a comma ATH. This is what you call direct and indirect. Okay, see here, indirect they are given as 80 to FF, or direct you can take it as P0 to B register. Both will support here. That is what we call direct and indirect address, that will see in the addressing modes. Right, so this I was explained just now. So 00 to 7F here, 00 to 1F, 20 to 2F, 30 to 7F. Right, so 00 to 07 is bank 0, 08 to 0F is bank 1, 10 to 17 is bank 2, 1F is bank 3. If you see the difference between here bank, every bank is 8 bits only. So this here I have given in detail. 00 to 07 is bank 0, 08 to 0F is bank 1, 18 to 1F is bank 3. Right, so why? Because here data transfer between general registers to general register is not possible. In 8086, memory to memory is not possible, where in the case of 8051, register to register is not possible. That will see in addressing modes. This here I can see that what is bit addressable. Right, 20 is again 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because just now I told you each register in 8051. This is an 8-bit. This is also 8-bit. This is also 8-bit, and this is also 8-bit. Like that, after 1F we have the 20. So 20 is also each one 1 bit. So this is completely 8 bits. So here I can write this as 20.0. 20.1, 20.2, 20.3, like that I can write these bit addressable locations. Stack area. What is stack? The stack area in 8051 always can be implemented in the internal data memory, that is RAM memory. Here the stack pointer is an 8-bit register, because the internal RAM area is only 00 to 7FH. So, and when the all register banks are being used, the stack location will be in range of 30 to 7FH. Right. So in such a case, the stack pointer will be initialized with 2F, because the stack pointer always pointed out the previous memory location of the stack memory. Right. So if we use 00 to 7F, then stack is starting from 30 to 7F. Whereas in the case of this all the registers, if they are not using, then the stack pointer upon reset, the stack pointer is initialized to 07H. If we use R0 to R31, the stack pointer will be initialized to 07, because the stack pointer is here is starting from 08 to 1F only. Right, so RAM memory of R0 to R31, not only for the general purpose programming or execution point of it, and also if it is R0 to R7, basic R0 to R7 for register programming of first bank 0, and remaining banks will not be used, then this remaining banks of R8 to R31, they can be used for stack pointer. When stack pointer and stack memory will be used? At the time of interrupts, we use this stack pointer and stack. When writing a new data byte into the stack pointer is automatically incremented by 1, and new data is written at an address of SP plus 1. When reading the data from the stack, the data is retrieved from this address in stack pointer, and after that the stack pointer is decremented by 1. That is called SP point minus 1. Sorry, SP minus 1. And the stack pointer always called by push and pop instructions along with call and RET instructions that we will see in the instruction set. Right. So here, right, 00 to 07 for general purpose, because we use generally bank 0 for usage. You can use bank 1 also. If you use bank 1, then it goes to 30 to 7F. Right. If you use only bank 0, then 08 to 7F, 1F are not using for any other. So then this is the stack memory location. So then stack, that's why previous memory location of 08 is called 07. The stack pointer is pointed out to 7H. Right. So whereas if you use this bank 0 or bank 1, bank 2, bank 3, any bank if you take, then automatically the stack memory will be 30 to 7F, because this is also called general purpose memory. And so that's why stack pointer is pointed to here. When you call the stack, immediately it goes to 30 location. That is what we call the stack and stack pointer. Right. Now come to the special function registers. This is very important for the examination point of view. Right. So A is called accumulator, B is called as base register, and data DPL stands for data pointer is in terms of once again DPL and DPH stands for data pointer lower byte and data point higher byte. IE stands for interrupt enable, IP stands for interrupt priority, P0, P1, P2, P3 are called as ports, IO ports. PCON stands for power control register, and PSW stands for program status word, serial communication control register. S buffer means serial communication buffer register, and stack point register, TMOD, TCON, timer modes register and timer control register, TL0, TH0, TL1 and TH1. The explanation about this SCON to TH1 is the second part of your unit 2. Okay, that you will see TL0 and TH0 is called as the timer 0, TL1 and TH1 is called as the timer 1. Again, you see timer 0 and timer 1 are 16 bits, but internally they are in terms of 8 bits. This is called lower byte and this is called higher byte. Right. So the special function registers are here math or CP registers. Means these two mainly performing in the mathematical operations of addition, subtraction, calculation, multiplication and division. So the main purpose of this P register here is the main multiplication and division operations, right? And it is used in the case of multiplication, the B register can also hold the higher byte of the register, because if you multiply two 8-bit registers, so 2 power 8 into 2 power 8 equal to 2 power 16. So this higher byte of value will be stored in B register, because every register can store only 8 bit and remaining 8 bit can be stored by the B register. But in the case of division, it gives two outputs. One is called coefficient, another one is called remainder. So the remainder can be held by the B register, whereas the coefficient can be stored by the A register. Okay. Now, right, CPU or math register, one more is called as A register, is also called accumulator. Accumulator means here it is used to hold the data for almost all the ALU operations. Suppose if you write add A comma B, means the content of B will be added with A and result again stored in A register. Right. So like that here, this is called as accumulator. It almost all it is used in almost all the operations. And program status word. The program status word is same as the flag register of your 8086 microprocessor, right? Whereas in 8086 it is 16-bit, but in the case of 8085 it is 8-bit. And the program status word register consists of flag bits, which help the programmer in checking the condition of the result and also make decisions. Right? Flags are 1-bit storage element that store and indicating the nature of the result that is generated by execution of certain instructions. Right. So this is the program status word. It is a bit addressable location. That's why it is written as PSW.0 to PSW.7. So here P stands for parity bit OV stands for overflow in the case of signed operations. CY stands for carry. AC stands for auxiliary carry. F0 stands for user flag. RS1 and RS0 for to select the bank registers. This is called as the program status word register. Right. This is just beside of your A register and B register in the block diagram that you can see in the block diagram also. To store the status, if you add two values, if carry is generated, that will be stored in the carry bit. If auxiliary carry is generated, that will be stored in AC bit. If parity is generated, that we can see here. If P is 0, even parity. If P is 1, odd parity. Like that, you can check it. Right. So here you can see that how this RS0 and RS1 bits are selected in the bank 0, bank 1, bank 2, bank 3 that I have already explained. Right. So carry used in arithmetic, logical and Boolean operations. Auxiliary carry used in BCD arithmetic. Right. General purpose user flags. Overflow used in arithmetic operations. Right. And this is not mentioned now. And parity, right. Odd parity and even parity bits. Data pointer. The main purpose of DPTR is used by the programmer addressing external memory, that is PROM memory or data memory. It is used to program the external memory. That's why here external memory means up to 64 KB. That's why here we need 16-bit data pointer. Whereas sometimes if you don't want 16-bit of external memory, that's why here it is internally catalyzed into DPL and DPH. So DPTR, if you use move a comma DPTR means right complete 16 bits of data. 16 bits you can use. I don't want 16 bits, I want only 8 bits mean, then you can take it as DPL lower byte and DPH as higher byte. So that is what we call the data pointer. So data pointer physically in the combination of DPL and DPH, the data pointer can be used as single 16-bit register. It can be used as two 8-bit registers. DPTR does not have a physical memory address, but the DPL and DPH has the address. So I could not call in the direct address mode. So I can call this as DPL and DPH address locations. So that's why it has two address locations of 82 and 83 because one address location can store only 8 bits of data. And so this is the 16-bit complete 16 bits and 8 bits of 8 bits. And this is the PCON is called power control. And here this PCON register is having ideal bit is also an 8-bit register, right? And this 8-bit registers having right ideal stands for example our mobile phone also going into the ideal state. What is ideal? Here the microcontroller will stop the clock signal to the ALU, but it is given to the other peripherals like timer, serial interrupts like that. In order to terminate the ideal mode, you have to use an interrupt or hardware reset. Right. Ideal means whenever I am not using the device, then we can say that it is in ideal mode. What is happening in ideal mode? The clock will not be provided to ALU. Means it's not performing any arithmetic and logical operations. In the power down mode, right? What is happening? Usually our mobile phone or microcontrollers are operating at 5 volts of power supply. Then you can see that in the mobile phone dim the brightness. How will it dim the brightness? By reducing its power voltage from 5 volts to 2 volts. Then it is known as the power down mode. So to terminate the power down mode, you have to use the hardware reset. Again, you have to touch that touch screen. Then it is again with high brightness means it is giving the original power supply value. Then it is what we call setting and resetting of this power down mode. F0 we have shown in the PSW. So that PSW along with that we are having two more general flags. GF0 and GF1 are called general purpose flags. See, there are two general purpose flag bits in the PCON register which can be used by the programmer during execution itself. So that is what we call the power control. You can control the power supply also by using this register, PCON register. Right. So next register IE and IP register. So IE stands for interrupt prior enable. So how to interrupt the enable? What are the enables are there? Right. So enables interrupts may be here. EX0 is called external interrupt. In the pin diagram of 17 and 18, we are having int 0 and int 1. So how to call that int 0 and int 1 of your pin diagram? By using EX0 and EX1. If you want to call the any interrupt from timer 0 and timer 1, right, we are having in the pin diagram T0 and T1. If you want to operate any external device using 8051, so that can be called by using this or operated by using this ET0 and ET1. And ES stands for if you want to enable the or any take the interrupt from serial communication device, then this will be enabled. ET2 means 8052 IC is having 3 timers: timer 0, timer 1, and timer 2. So that will be enabled by using this ET2. Whereas 8051 is having only 2 timers, T0 and T1. So this T0 and T1 can be enabled by setting these 2 bits. And if timer 0 you are operating, this will be set. If timer 1 you are operating, this will be set. If INT 0 is operating, this will be set. If INT 1 is operating, that will be set by this EX1. Okay, what is EA? To enable all these, then this bit must be equal to high, logic high. That is what we call the interrupt enable. This we will see once again in detail in the next part 2 of this unit 2. Interrupt priority. So if interrupt is coming from the 2 to 3 devices, then we need to give the priority, which will need to execute first. That is what we call the interrupt priority. So here the high priority goes to PS, and last priority goes to PX0, that we will see later. So this is what we call the interrupt priority. So PX0 means priority of int 0, PT0 means priority of T0, PX1 means priority of INT1, PT1 means priority of PT1, and PS means priority of serial communication ports. And the corresponding interrupt is assigned low priority, and if the bit is set, the interrupt is assigned to the higher priority. If any pin is getting high, is set to high, that will be the high priority. Next, I want to explain about timers and counters. So timer is nothing but to count the internal pulses and internal timing pulses. If you want to count the external device or external application timing pulses, then it is known as the counter device. That is different. So here we have C by T bar and C by T bar. So C by T bar means this is the flow, and C by T bar equal to 1 means counter means will take the T0 and T1 pins of your pin diagram. Right. So here the timers can be controlled by using this 2 register TCON and TMOD. So TCON is having TF1, TR1, TF0, TR0, IE1, IT1, IA0, and IT0. So TF1 stands for timer 1 overflow flag. Right. So here you can see that here it goes to timer increment input. Here you can say that TF1 by TF0. 1 means run, 0 means stop. That's why here TR1 means timer 1 to run, TR0 means timer 0 to run, TF1 means timer 1 overflow, TF0 means timer 0 overflow. Because these timers are operating with 4 modes of operation that we will see in the second part of this unit 2. Because in unit 2, second part, we have to explain in detail about the SFRs only one by one. So I'll show in next presentation. So TF1 means timer 1 overflow. So timer 1 and timer 0 will be operating 4 modes of operation. So when each mode is reached, that value will be reset to its original 0, that is called as because of interrupt only. Next, IE1 and IT1 and IE0 and IT0. T1 stands for timer 0 and timer 1. IE1 and IT0 stands for interrupt enable 1 and interrupt enable 0, int 0 and int 1. Right. This there is a difference. These 4 are related to interrupts only, but these interrupts will be explained later in detail. Next, TMOD. TMOD stands for timer mode. Right. Gate bit and C by T bar. Gate bit means here. Gate bit means here it is an enable bit. It is a control bit to here you can see that this is called as the gate bit. right? This is called gate bit, and this bit is used to control the operation of this timer or control operation. So that's why here this is called as gate bit. C by T bar means here you can see that this switch can be connected to either C by T bar equal to 0 or C by T bar equal to 1. C by T bar equal to 0 means timer operation. C by T bar equal to 1 means counter operation. Counter means external timing pulses counting. Timer means internal timing counting pulses counting is called as C by T bar. Next M0 and M1. So here we can see the four modes of operation. Right, so these 4 bits for timer 0 and these 4 bits for timer 1. See here C by T bar 1 and gate 1, and here you can see that C by T bar 0 and gate 0 means timer 0 operation and timer 1 modes of operation can be given by these 4 bits and these 4 bits. Right. So how TL1 and TH1 and how TL0 and TH0 is available? You know that there are two timers in 8051, T0 and T1. So this T0 and T1 can be available with 16 bits, but internally 88 bits TL0 and TH0. Right. So now we are coming to the one more register is called serial communication. That's PON, S buffer, and PCON registers. See what is serial communication? The number of bits or baud transmitted per second is called as serial communication from one location to another location. Here communication is a serial communication, parallel communication. Parallel communication requires more number of wires. That's why here in 8051 we are supporting, and it is operating by using serial communication. Complete information given in the next presentation about the serial communication also. So that's why here to transmit. So UART stands for universal asynchronous reception and transmission of the bits or words here to timer 1 to set the baud rates. What is the baud rate? We will see in the next see rate and baud rate. We will see here measured as number of data bits transmitted per second in communication channel. And baud rate is measured as number of times a single rate changed in a communication channel. What is difference between baud rate and baud rate? Bits, as you probably know, are the zeros and ones that binary data consists of. The bit rate is measured as the number of bits that are transmitted per unit time, where the unit of time can be anything. Generally, you will see the bit rate 15,000 bits, suppose for example, that means 15 kbps. Yeah, means BPS stands for bits per second. You know that Mbps megabits per second, Gbps is gigabits per second. Whereas the baud rate, which is also known as symbol rate, measures the number of symbols that are transmitted per unit of time. What is symbol? Means the bits are usually 00, 01, 01, 0, 1 for 2 bits. For 3 bit 0002 to 11. It's called symbol. Right. The number of bits is called a symbol. Bits transmitted per second, where the baud rate measures the number of symbols transmitted per second, and that is the main difference. Okay, so here that information is required to understand this SFR, special instructions in terms of serial communication. So serial communication here SCON stands for serial communication control register. So 8051 timers also operating 4 modes of operation, whereas in the case of serial communication also having internally 4 modes. Right, so that's why here SM0, SM1 are called as the serial communication mode bits. 8052 is having 3 modes of operation, whereas 8051 is having 2 modes of operation. So here 2 modes means again we can have here 2 bits. 2 bits means 4 types of serial communication bauds or baud rates it can support, and that we will see later. Right, REN stands for receiver enable. TB8 stands for 8-bit is received transmitted. RB8 stands for 8-bit is received. TS stands for transmit interrupt. RS stands for receive interrupt. Okay, so that we will see. S buffer. S buffer means serial data buffer. We know that buffering means a place where data can be stored or can be held a place. In the pin diagram also we are having two pins, TXD pin and RXD pin of port 3, like P3.0 and P3.1. As the name indicates, the register is used to send or receive data via serial port. Okay, the register is used to send or receive the data via this port. Any value returned to serial buffer, S buffer, will be sent out the serial ports TXT pin, transmitted pin. Any value which the 80 receive via the serial ports RXT pin will be delivered to the user program via S buffer. Means TXT pin and RXT pin will not send the data or will not receive data directly. That will be holds, but sometime will be by using S buffer register. Okay. Last one, very important one, is called as PCON, power control register, and that we have seen already. Ideal mode, PD, power down mode, GF0 and GF1, and S mode. Right. I was already explaining this PCON register earlier, but why I'm explaining here in this PCON, we are having the seventh bit is called S mode bit, and this S mode bit stands for serial communication mode bit. Right. Here you can see that serial communication is having modes. SM0 is and SM1 and SM2 are called as mode bit. M stands for mode. SCON stands for serial communication. 0 means first bit, 2 means second bit, 3 means third bit. So 2 power 3 means 8 different modes. But 8051 supports only 4 modes. That's why these two will be always programmed either 00, 01, 1011. Okay, so that when you are running by for different baud rates, then this S mod will be 0 or 1, because in the serial communication the baud rate will be calculated as 2 power S mod by 32 into 1 by 12 into, right, 1 by 12 into oscillator frequency by TH1 minus 256. This is the equation we have. Right. Whereas the first word or first one in the equation is 2 power S mod. If S mod bit is 0, 1 means same operation. If that bit is 1, 2 power 1 means 2, means the speed of operation or baud rate can be doubled. You see here, when 8051 is powered up, S mod is 0. But if S mod is equal to 1 means by setting S mod, baud rate can be doubled. How it can be doubled? By this equation. Baud rate is equal to 2 power S mod by 32 into, by 32, but 30 you can see here, right, divided by 32, right, and you 2 power S mod by 32 into 1 by 12, this is the 12, into oscillator frequency by TH1 minus 255. What is the TH1? Because this serial communication is also depending upon timing pulses, because here you can see that clock they have given timing pulses. From where it is coming, the timing pulses are coming from internally available timer or on-chip oscillator, or externally counter or timer T0 and T1. So that's why here we have taken that the equation as 2 power S mod by 32 into 1 by 12 into, or 1 by 32 into, like that. So any questions, please ask me. Thank you very much for your valuable time.